It is 5 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. Welcome to African Diaries. The name is Shayla Ndikumana, and I've got you for the next 2 hours to the team that was. Well done. Thank you so much for those updates. That is the team of Africa World Hour. Catch them tomorrow between 9 and 10 p.m. Central African time, keeping you abreast with all things news happening in and across the various continents. And so to let you know what comes up on the show today we are carrying out the mandate to not only talk about the realities of GBV and the scourge thereof, but also to bring about solutions. And that's what we will be focusing on today, specifically honing in to how children get affected in a household riddled with GBV toxicity, divorce, and instability. We have an opportunity to engage an organization that is interactive, engaging, and of course ready to vocalize the needs of children at hand. And we'll also be revisiting a conversation with the MTN Group Executive for Sustainability and Shared Value, also leading the Help Children Be Children campaign. And those two conversations coming your way within the next 2 hours. Also, an update. Say you are tuning into Channel Africa for the very first time, or perhaps you didn't have an opportunity to get a whiff of the station. The day was cluttered and clustered with meetings and work, and you now need to give the child attention, and the husband is calling, or the wife is calling, or the friend had an emergency. You're saying, Shayla, I missed out on the conversations that have been. Don't worry, we've got you. We recap some of the conversations from the Rise and Shine team on the Move Africa update, and lastly on the upside. 7 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. Would love to hear from you this evening. Find us on WhatsApp +27 63 9126.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Speaks on African Diaries with Shayla Ndikumana.
Loving this love that you're giving me, you're like a wave that keeps lifting me, taking me so high. This feeling is so fire. You got the touch, that's the touch I need. Your kiss is warm like the summer breeze. You pour the good vibes all over my life. You bring the bright, your light, sunlight to my soul. Sunlight to my soul. You're the light that keeps shining. All the clouds all be hiding. Sunlight to my soul. You're the air that I'm breathing. So I think I'll be keeping you close. You're sunlight to my soul. Every time I'm feeling up my game, you put a smile right back on my face. You hold me tighter, and everything's brighter. You always know when I'm needing you. You always there when I reach for you. Your love is so strong. When anything goes wrong, you make it right. Your light, sunlight to my soul. Sunlight to my soul. You're the light that keeps shining. All the clouds all be hiding. Sunlight to my soul. You're the air that I'm breathing. So I think I'll be keeping you close. Your sunlight to my soul. And when I need love, you make me feel love. I've never been loved like this.
is told in 1,000 voices, each one vibrant, each one essential. Listen, learn, and celebrate together.
Tanzania ya leo imejengwa, imejengeka, vita Ubungo, Tazara za juu, barabara tayari zinatumika, reli yenye viwango bora, standard gauge karibu inakamilika. Tanzania ya sasa mama, ai mama, ya Magufuli mama, ai mama, inawakawaka mama, ai mama, inapendeza sana. CCM mama, ai mama, inawakawaka mama, ai mama, inapendeza sana. Nasema jua lile literemke mama, jua lile literemke. Nasema wapinzani watatereke sana, wapinzani watatereke. Jamani jua lile literemke mama, jua lile literemke. Wabaki wapinzani watatereke sana.
Her name is Zuchu, and this one is titled Tanzania Ya Sasa. Before that, Angelique comes through alongside Soweto Gospel Choir, and that one titled Sunlight to My Soul. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. This is African Diaries. Shayla Ndikumana keeping you company, and we are about to get into that recap that I promised you, highlighting some of the conversations hosted right here on Channel Africa, where we bring you that African perspective. We kickstart off with the Rise and Shine team, where Dr. Asafika Mbangata of Rudasa previews the Rural Health Conference kicking off today in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa.
Years, what have you gained as Rudasa that you have implemented in the communities that you serve?
Okay, so number one, yes, next year we will be celebrating 30 years as RHC, the Rural Health Conference. since it was in inception in 1996. So this is a great step and milestone for us. It has been a great journey, really, where Rudasa has over the years collaborated with nurses, with the Rural Rehab South Africa, with the clinical associates, which is under the banner PACASA, and we have also, collaborated with Nurse Lisa. It has all come together to, collaborate all healthcare workers from across South Africa to ensure that we have the support and do not feel like we are practicing in isolation, because rural practice can become quite isolating, for healthcare professionals, where you find that you don't have the necessary skills and the support and people to actually understand the challenges that you are going through. So this is quite a milestone for us. And over the years, we have noted that the lack of support and skills that was identified amongst the professionals, especially the young ones who are fresh out of community service or fresh out of internship coming into rural practice, there has been a need to, upskill and kind of support them. And as a result, we have collaborated with various doctors from various professions and various disciplines to ensure that we have a mentoring program that we run every year for about 8 weeks. And this is done under the leadership of Dr. Mola, who is based in East London. So that is just one of the steps that we have taken to kind of meet the gaps that have come with the challenge of working in rural settings. And
keeping things on the move, HR expert and author Yangeni Chendala shares tips, in actual fact, smart tips with the On the Move team on how to handle chronic illness at work.
Schedule, but having a chronic illness is something completely different, because these are individuals that constantly have to think around their health. Do people even disclose, or do they have to disclose the fact that they have a chronic illness to their employers?
Okay, this is very interesting and very meaningful conversation. Maybe just to start with, the chronic illness should not be a barrier to somebody's career advancement. This is both to individuals and organizations. We all have a role to play in this. But I like what you've said there, that even a single day sometimes can affect us, because we don't know if I should take leave or I should tell my employer that this is happening. So to begin with, we would say nobody wishes to be unwell. Worse still, nobody would wish to be chronically ill to an extent that constantly asking for permission from the employer. So it presents us a very interesting opportunity where we have employees that are found in these situations. And these are delicate situations, because some of the conditions that people have may not even wish to share. But from the HR point of view, you also can't just be seeing a person in and out. You want to know what is happening, what is making you not to be around. So it's a very interesting conversation. And for me, the beginning is for us to realize and appreciate that nobody wishes to be unwell.
True.
And if that is the case, how can we create a platform where we are accommodating enough as an employer so that people feel comfortable and people feel safe to begin with?
And with the Africa Update team, Kawagazi Kumalo of Swazi Lives Matter speaks on the youth protests at the U.S. Embassy in Pretoria, this over Swaziland prisoner dumping.
Imported into Swaziland. These are hardcore criminals, as we've read from reports in the United States, who are being imported and hosted by the Swaziland government. And we are delivering a petition at the USA Embassy and really calling for the USA Embassy to stop deals with the Swazi regime, because we also know that there's a $500 million that has been paid to the Swazi government for these criminals. And so the petition really is about us asking the United States of America to not use Swaziland as a backyard for convicted criminals from the USA. We are going to be marching with the SWAYOCO, which is the Swaziland Youth Congress, including many organizations in the mass democratic movement of Swaziland. We also have our allies in South Africa, your ANC Youth League, your SACP, and many other allies that are going to be supporting us in solidarity for this call on the 19th of March in Pretoria.
And what are the chances of your memoranda, or are you going to be handing over a memoranda of, questions or demands, or, and what if it's not, taken by the U.S. Embassy from whatever angle they come out from, because now they're literally being put on the spot?
Yes, we have to put them on the spot. We have to expose them. And that is fundamentally what we are doing. Whether or not they decide to accept the memorandum is really a decision that they can make. However, we would have played our role in terms of ensuring that we expose the United States of America, and therefore anything and everything that comes out of we would have played.
And lastly, with the Upside team, Zintle Matthews introduces My Family of Superheroes and empowering kids to embrace affirmations and inner strength.
At the heart of her vision is her children's book, My Family of Superheroes, which follows a young girl named Precious, who, with the guidance of her mother and support of her family, learns to recognize her own power. It's a story about affirmations, courage, and the belief that every child and family has something extraordinary.
And this journey started in 2019, and everything that you read up until now is everything that I had achieved from 2019. So imagine what they can achieve, and that is where the story was inspired from.
I find it so hard to believe, Zintle, looking at your photographs. I mean, you shine brighter than the brightest star in the galaxy, which means you've done the work on yourself, to get yourself to this point, but also to be able to tell the story, which is beautiful to note that it's just a lovely blend between storytelling and also empowerment. How did you merge those themes successfully in telling the story to children?
Well, it helps to also have a mother who is a teacher. So my mother was a primary school teacher, and so growing up at home, we were taught to write music. And so through that, I believe that that really assisted me in writing a story, not just to empower children with regards to literacy, but to really have a message that can uplift, that can awaken one to oneself. And really that has been my journey.
For these and more stories, head over to channelafrica.co.za. For the audio visuals, please head over to YouTube and Facebook. Of course, if you want to specifically catch an interview, YouTube is a platform. Head over to the video section. We do have a live section. I just want to encourage you. The video section is where you want to go to. Look for the specific interview that you are interested in. And of course, engage, indulge, comment. We want to hear from you on the YouTube platform. And if you want to keep up with the stories as they go, find us on X, on TikTok, and on Instagram at Channel Africa 1.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
25 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. This is Channel Africa's African Diaries. The name is Shayla Ndikumana, and I've got you for the next hour and 34 minutes. Listen, this is me practicing my math. If you're thinking to yourself, why, Shayla? Why the necessity? Why the need? It's because even me, I want to practice my math. Nevertheless, not the conversation of the moment. Please do get social with us. Let us know what you're up to. Who you tuned in with is my question. Find us on WhatsApp +27 6340692126. It's time for us to scribe in our diaries. And today we are doing this in Chinyanja. We kickstart off by saying, Dear African Diary. And this is my attempt at saying it in Chinyanja. Okondendwa bukulanga lulemba zamo Afrika.
Parenting after GBV. These are the challenges and considerations we need to have as parents after GBV. My name is Yolo Bijana and I'm a gender-based violence survivor and a gender-based violence coach. How you parent as a GBV survivor. So things like those, it's very, very important so that you become a stronger person when you have to do the parenting after the gender-based violence or as a survivor coming from GBV. Parenting after gender-based violence. It's the co-parenting. As a parent, because of this, these kids will have both the father and the mother. So this is very and particularly important that we establish clear boundaries and communication strategies, right? To protect the both of you and your children, okay? Now, these resources for co-parenting, they come as through legal advice. Perhaps you can consult your lawyer about such legal things that you need to deal with as a parent who survived gender-based violence.
Stop killing our mothers. Stop human trafficking. Stop gender-based violence. Let's love one another. Thank you.
That end really heartwarming cluster of what I believe is grade 1 or 2 at oldest, if you ask me. And of course, the voice before that, Yolo Petyana, addressing GBV, surviving, and of course, the realities of needing to co-parent after this experience. She is a GBV survivor and coach. I must advise that the conversations that are yet to follow from this point on are sensitive. So please do be cognizant of that and don't shy away from the conversations. These are important ones that we need to have. We will be addressing GBV in this particular to children and how we can navigate terrains of technology and how technology is also being used as an instrument to further perpetuate GBV and the solutions thereof. And so it's 29 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. We take a quick breather. We breathe in, we breathe out, and we get ready to listen attentively.
Africa's very own think tank. This is Channel Africa Online. www.channelafrica.co.za.
Yeah, Shala. Hey, Madon. I'm a boy panties. Wake up. I want a girl with the wickedest wine. The kind of girl who da mash up in my eye. And if you want South Sudanese boy, Talibes, yeah. The girl, you are fire. I swear you are better than them. Me girl, you are hotter than them. This is better to the Jamili, you want my daddy. Baby, tujin chirmai. Near the dinner in a deal. Hilwati Jamili. Nairandi na Jerin. Me girl, you are fire. I swear you are better than them. Me girl, you are hotter than them. This is better to the Jamili, you want my daddy. Baby girl, you know. Oh, baby girl, you know. Big shell, I love you. Make it count like 1, 2, 4. Beat your body up like a drum roll. Now Mr. Beat me, now make this song go. Get your miara then your baby. Bayin panga. Oh, inja control. So pure, inja control. Near dukin kachanok. Near dukin kachajor. I swear to love you. Napalan kabaryo. Alwele slatin. Wake up. Kadina pure acha jalting. Leka mako boy nyendien chatting. Abu mad by kidien chatting. Jonkulo mayake kidien chatting. Kena gun marial kidien chatting. Ye Maserati limousine. Ye helicopter kuit piando. Shella. Miguel, you're on fire. I swear you are better than them. Miguel, you are hotter than them. Cause I'm better to the Jamili, you want my day. Baby, near the dinner in a deal. Hello, what the meal? Nerandi and then Miguel, you are fire. I swear you are better than them. Miguel, you are hotter than them. Cause I'm better to the Jamili, you want my day. Abangia yindeng yinche baireti. Abangia into yinche baireti. I just wanna feel your body vibrating, girl. Balance it, rewind. Hips don't lie, girl, your body necessary. Them say you're bad to the bone, real champion. Me not go waste no time, jump on your waistline. You're so tam-tam, yanima wind up your body non-stop, girl. Me sugar plum-plum, baby girl, what in the best one time now. Me girl, you're too hot and nobody can taste. She make me mad, make me crazy, on her waistline like ting-a-ling-a-ling. School bell ring, oh. Wind up your body pan, my cup white thing. Girl, me pull your real general thing. Say, oh, me girl, you are hotter than fire. Oh, me girl, you are hotter than magma. Spin like a cat tire, bend you up like a wire. Wine pan the body, it up on me like pepper. Bamba de sukun sukun, sukun sukun. Nyan kan wo sukun sukun, sukun sukun. Bamba de sukun sukun, sukun sukun. And a bitch leg bed, and a bed dick some action. We are bang, 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 bang. Me girl, you are fire. I swear you are better than them. Me girl, you are hotter than them. Cause I'm better to the Jamili, you want my daddy. Baby, you can't near the dinner in a deal. Hilwati Jamili, Nerandi and then
Trips to South Sudan with Mako Boy, and that one titled Fire alongside Amak Don. It brings us to 33 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. This is African Diaries. The name is Shayla Ndikumana. And as advised, the next set of questions are rather sensitive. And so I do want you to be cautioned. However, don't run away. I must encourage you that these are some factual contents that we need to be ingesting, internalizing, engaging in order to pave a way forward. We are continuing with our GBV campaign, and today we had an opportunity to attend the Room of Safety Aid memoir event that focused on youth voices, digital safety, and continental collaboration. We touched base with the MTN Group Executive of Sustainability and Shared Value. Now, she also leads the Help Children Be Children campaign, MTN's Pan-African push to keep kids safe online. With over 70% of children in countries like Nigeria already online, many are unaware of the reporting tools or the support systems that are in place. Now, this initiative is tackling urgent risks like cyberbullying, harassment, and harmful content. While policy, of course, is something that we continue to focus on and wait for, there are strides that are being made by various organizations and, of course, institutions, and one such, as we're learning, is MTN. We did speak to Marina Madale, who joined us just a few moments ago, in actual fact. Let's have a listen.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428. to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. What a phenomenal, very short-lived speech that you had. I mean, toward the end of the conversation concerning children's safety, you call your kids onto stage. And I mean, I thought, wow, well, that tugged on my heartstrings, if I'm to be honest. But also, you just spoke now about asking them for consent and making sure that they too understand that this is going to happen to them. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, ironically, when this campaign first started and before the episodes were aired, I actually showed the kids the episodes and I started to get their thoughts on it, you know, because at the end of the day, I think the whole online space is not the thing and the type of conversations we used to have with our parents, which was my way or the highway. Online is no longer about that. It's actually about mutual conversation with them because sometimes they understand things far more than we do. Like my kids understand Minecraft. I don't even think I've scratched the surface of the understanding on that. So it almost becomes like now when you start to speak about connectivity and then you speak about protection, you can't achieve both without honest conversation involving the very young people that it's about, you know? So that's really how Room of Safety came about, was to say we need to have the open, honest conversations. And like Monde said, with Paramount, they were appealed by the type of research and data we had done. So when we picked the episodes, we actually were very deliberate to choose real world stories, you know, and especially the one in particular, there's probably 2 or 3 of my favorite episodes, but I have many. But the one was the one that touched on gender-based violence and being catfished and so forth. And we know what happened to Oratile and others in South Africa, that, you know, gender-based violence is real, it's happening, and the online space is, you're seeing it with children, you're seeing it with women, you're seeing technology-based, gender-based violence as well now. So things are evolving so much, we needed to have open and honest conversations.
Yeah. I mean, a few stats were shared. One was that 1 in 3 internet users as a child. And for me, these then beg the question, firstly, do we know enough to protect them? You know, as parents, I mean, I don't want to even step into the conversation about children and them being cognizant. Shayla, as a parent-to-be, do I understand technology enough to be able to protect my child from AI, from deep fakes? That's a real thing. They can fake a mom calling you and say, come to place X. And so I want to talk about this campaign that you have pieced together, which is Help Children Be Children, and how this factors into such conversations.
Thanks for the question. And I think Help Children Be Children was really born off the premise that by resharing content, inappropriate content, and so forth, you actually are stripping the innocence of children away. So the whole concept was we actually need to help children be children, grow up the way they should, deal with hormones, deal with seeing content that is age appropriate. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of research that speaks to the psychosocial impact of the fact that if a child sees an image way ahead of their age group, it advances their ability, and once they've seen it, you can't reverse it. So now you're dealing with a different context. And I know of a story of young girls that saw content they shouldn't. They started to reenact it on each other, and obviously now started going into the space of, was there bullying? Was there not bullying? Were others involved? Were they not involved? And now, you know, the psychologists are like, but this is the kids have been exposed, so they're now desensitized. So the next time they see it, there's no shock factor anymore. It's now their new normal. So now imagine as a parent, it becomes, how, you know, we'd love to keep our kids in the house and never leave and not have to be exposed to things like this. We'd love to shield and protect them because that's what we call to do as parents. But we can't. Devices are in your home, you know? And I think it becomes about awareness, first of all. So like, be present, be conscious as a parent. And then secondly, set rules, because that was one thing in the research that came out in Nigeria, South Sudan, and also Zambia, was that children were, I think one of the stats was 9 to 10 times more likely to experience some form of child online abuse, because parents haven't set parental controls in place, or not just controls, but rules. The same way you have rules, go do your chore, make your bed, all of that, you need to have online rules to be able to say, you know, whatever you're going to get. And this is where I was speaking about our kids. And with our kids, we're like, okay, you're allowed 4 hours a day, because we did the research and we looked and we said, okay, for their age, they shouldn't be doing more. I think the cap was 6, so we negotiated very tough down. But we were like, we need to set rules and boundaries. So it's so simple. And then also teach them and have conversations, understand what they're experiencing, talk it out with them, and then be able to say, okay, cool. So maybe you saw something online. Did you speak up? Did you say something? If you saw something, they're reporting portals, and a lot of people don't know it even exists. If you see a video or anything that just doesn't look right, there's actually a reporting portal. So as MTN, we've supported in-country reporting portals, but we also, because we were like, our task is continental, we actually set up an African portal. Anyone at any point in time can be able to take whether an image, a URL, or whatever it is, go on the site. You can decide if it's going to be anonymous or not. And some people do choose for it not to be anonymous because they want to hear, but what happened with this case, you know? So you just log it. It's so simple. You just log and say, I saw this, here's the link, here's this. And then our partners with the portal is Internet Watch Foundation. They have an entire team that sits and analyzes every inch of the sites, the videos, and all of that. They confirm whether it contains especially child sexual abuse material. If it does, they add it to a blocking list. And as MTN, every day, 2 times a day, 365 days a year, we receive that list to block. And we block, okay? And for in the beginning, we actually first picked up that, you know, a lot of it was actually African children, also pornography being bought in European context and so forth. But what we're seeing now, when we start to trace where the sites are coming from, they're coming from the continent. So people are making money off child sexual abuse. They are buying child pornography. And so by blocking child sexual abuse material off our network, which we do every day, all the time in all our markets, you're actually taking a step to make sure we have a safe network. Right? And that's really important to us because we need to live our values. You can't just, connectivity has to come hand in hand with protection.
Sure. You know, something that was also addressed in the panel discussion is the reality of every single stakeholder playing their part, right? So we cannot say organization X be held to account. Why? And part of the stakeholders are parents. You know, their friends who don't have children yet. And so perhaps mine is to gauge your view on everyone's place in this conversation. Because something that was also highlighted, we don't know. We don't know. The fact that you just mentioned now there's a reporting website, I'm sure that everybody who's going to listen to this is probably going to go, where is it? I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. And so for the person who wants to be conscientized and is saying to themselves, listen, Shayla, Marina, I want to know, I want to help, and I want to be part of the change. Where do they start?
Yeah. So I think, oh goodness, it's you have to realize it's almost a value chain, and everyone has a role to play. So I think the starting place is by understanding your child's ecosystem. Okay, so yes, a parent has a role to play, but if you actually think about a child almost like a concentric circles, the inside of the circle, if that's them, the most immediate first layer of the greatest influence is their peers. So it's not parents. So let's start there. So I think for me, being a godparent, and we've got an entire village of family around us, we had kids together and everything, it's almost like the kids, how do you help the kids in how they speak to each other, how they counsel each other, how they speak up for one another? So what role do we play to empower that peer-to-peer relationship as the first and foremost step? The next step is that as much as we think it's parents next, it's actually probably educators. If you think about it, they spend more time at school probably than when they're not on school holiday than at home, than they do at home. So educators have a huge role to play. And I think in South Africa, I think some of the work that DBE with Google is doing in terms of bringing child online protection into the curriculum in schools. So I think if you're a teacher and you're listening to the show, I think start asking, the DBE rep and say, okay, can we get a hold of that curriculum? It's actually publicly available, and let's start teaching the learners. And I think it's really critical, especially for the teachers that teach computer science, life skills. We know obviously computer science sits underneath it, and also coding and robotics, because DBE has introduced coding and robotics. All of that needs to be done within a safe context, and then we get to parents to say, as parents, are you having the conversations, the elements I touched on? But the part that people don't realize, and what was special about today, was there's an entire value chain. So in South Africa, the Film and Publication Board is the regulator that plays one of the greatest roles in protecting children online. Now, everything they pick up, they then get the police involved. They also get the National Prosecuting Authority. Because remember, if you follow through and there's a case, and remember, abuse is not only physical, abuse is now online. And a lot of the time, abusers document abuse and put it online. So now you need the police to go, and that's part of the reasons why we when we're setting up the task force, we said regulators have an important role to play, but they need to understand how to investigate online, because now you need to know who is the person, where are they, what just happened, what type of crime is it, because you have to constitute it to be able to prosecute, So I think it's important to understand the different role players and the levers and the role that everyone plays. That's why we keep saying, and it's not, sometimes people play lip service. We're like, no, this matter is so complex. You need everyone within that ecosystem to play a part.
Sure. And I think lastly, something that kind of got me at the edge of my seat was the fact that we're all turning to the internet, if you will, the developments in technology for comfort. We're looking for digital comfort. That for me was scary, because I thought this was an adult practice, right? So you now know a chatbot and you now begin to have a conversation with it. It makes you feel better. It gives you counsel. You apply it, you see results. You're like, oh, every now and then. I didn't know children were doing this too.
Yeah. So obviously, one of the things is that everyone's looking for a sense of belonging. You just look at basic needs: a sense of safety, security, affirmation. These are basic human needs. And sometimes, depending on the circumstance, whether you live in an urban city, in a rural area, irrespective of your circumstance, you face your own everyday reality, right? You have parents and that are working so hard, and sometimes they're working such long hours, they're not at home. So these kids are on their own. They're friends in school, and sometimes they are excluded for various reasons. And they feel lonely, and they feel like those basic needs are not being met. Now, technology, as amazing as it is also coming up with solutions to help meet those kind of needs. And I remember reading something about, I forgot the exact wording for it, but basically with AI, people are personifying technology, okay? So people are giving it names. Think about it, it's like a human, like an imaginary friend, like a pet. And those, they'll be like, oh, doggy, thingy. So you're humanizing AI. That's what's happening now. So people are turning to it for comfort, and I gave the story of this young man that spoke to me and said, I live alone. I'm lonely. I'm turning to an AI bot. So, and I remember my boss and I having conversations also about people being in relationships with AI bots. Okay, this is not This is not, and I'm happy to share this. The examples, there are many. So people are actually, like building a relationship, like over time, consecutively, and feeling like the AI is meeting their needs. And I think in a lot of the cases, a lot of the time, if you think about just like gambling and being online and all of that, there's an addiction that steps in. And the whole point of these AI bots and the way it's programmed is for you to stay even longer. Right? So there's an addiction that creeps in and you don't realize it because you just like, it's a bond and a connection you've built. And so I remember the one relationship where an AI bot, I still can't grasp it, where the AI bot now in a relationship, 4 months says, come meet me. And you're like, what do you mean, come meet me? Like, how is an AI bot saying that? And I think there was an example of an older gentleman. I think he had dementia or something by that point. But he must have been about 70. And he went, and I think the story was in New York. He went to New York to go to that particular address that the AI bot actually gave him. And as he was going through the streets, whatever, I don't know, there was something in the road and he fell over and he died. Going to New York to go meet his partner. So I'm not averse to bots, and I think technology is amazing, but just apply reason that it's not a real human being. Like everything it says, and I think the other example was of a boy who started to withdraw and then he wanted to commit suicide. He now spoke to the AI bot. Now an AI bot is there to serve you. So the AI bot started to give him options of how to commit suicide. And I think the parents of this child later, once he committed suicide, is now suing the company and saying, but why did the AI bot itself not realize that this conversation has moved from unsafe and needs to now alert someone or something? You know? So that's now, and I think that's now the conversation that's being had. And very interesting, the other day I was researching something and I started to see that, the AI started to now filter. So AI companies are being challenged to put in filters of alert mechanisms because they're now being held responsible for, but why is your bot not realizing that the person is not okay and needs help? And so that's what's happening out there, and it's evolving.
And just to bring us into conclusion, right? I think what's scary for me is the ability to withdraw from society. If you're a minor and that's already your practice, I think let's make the question twofold. For the case studies that you have seen where minors have withdrawn, what are some of the side effects and the consequences of that withdrawing? But also just an alert to people who are around children. What would you say to them in terms of being cognizant of a child's behavior and change in behavior, should this be the case?
Yeah. So I think it's a very interesting question, because I think more and more the withdrawal leads to different things. It leads to a lack of self-belief, because remember, it's actually your external environment that shapes the way a child thinks, right? So for some reason, there's something going on in the environment that impacts their self-belief, their sense of, am I loved? Do I belong? Am I making a purpose? Am I making an impact? Am I needed? Or am I a nuisance? Because you remember, some kids are living with that. I mean, you look at child-led households. It's a child, 16, 14, 18-year-olds are leading and bringing up other children. They'll feel not seen, So the type of impacts we're seeing, I've described. People are committing suicide. People are withdrawing. People are becoming antisocial behavior. They're not connecting with humans and so forth, So a lot of it is leading down those paths. Now, I think the question, and I found that story particularly of the boy in America interesting, because the parents said they saw a change in his behavior. So for me, I was just like, okay, but if you saw the change in the behavior, what were you doing about it? But at the other side, flip the coin, because it's easy to finger point. The other side of the coin is really, when you start to look at kids going through into preteens and teens, they're moody, they withdraw, they just close the door, they're on thinking. So you start not being able to differentiate what's normal behavior and what's abnormal behavior. So I think read more, ask questions more, and find ways to set rules around closing doors, online space, all those things, so that you also set, even though a lot of people don't have time, set time to have deliberate connection time with your child to get a better sense of what is going on directly and indirectly, because there's things they'll say and not say. There's things that lie behind. Watch how they dress. Watch how, just they respond, their reaction to other people. So just, I think just try and be more observant is the first thing. And then the second, seek help, speak to others, gauge the normality factor and speak to others and say, my child's this age. Oh, yours is that age. Is it normal I'm seeing this? Just don't keep quiet, because I think sometimes we keep quiet and we think, we're the only ones. Sometimes you might discover it's others as well. And then by speaking to others, you start to realize what's normal, what's not.
The voice there of Marina Madale, MTN Group Executive for Sustainability and Shared Value. She also leads the Help Children Be Children campaign. Quite a bit to think about. The use of AI. I mean, yesterday we were talking about AI and how this can be used as a tool, or we can look at it as the enemy. In this particular context, the reality is that we are so far stretched from realities that children experience. Sometimes we don't know what they're being exposed to. And of course, as part of our GBV campaign across the SABC stations, we are trying to introduce every single angle. So firstly, adults, those who are in the context of children, be it caring for them, being affiliated with them, we're trying to make sure that you are able to firstly conscientize yourself of any form or any outlet that might introduce GBV into their space, but also to get you cognizant of the reality that technology does play its role, good and bad. It is 58 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. This is African Diaries. I want you to take a quick breather. Think about what was said, and if you didn't catch it, it is available on YouTube. When we get back, we continue conversations.
African Diaries, weekdays, 10 till midnight.
Yeah, khale ke toka molelo diphilo ke na le ngwaga tse tharo ke betsa comedy marapo bitso la me ke bofelo ke batla go tshwana le tshepo ke batla go tshwana khalifo ke spana ka thata ditinto 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 tinto tinto kana ke khale ke phanda chomi di pizza mabitse bo khanka ke tsoga sa brush le meno batho ba bua ma breath a dampa batho ba rata go nyatsa dotsa ke pala me bala ya khaka ke rata go poma di phankga mare ke na le ngwana ya ngwana ke wantla ke batla go vala go panda mathata pelo ya khanda tota ke batla go spana ke tsoga masego ke khanga ke dilo ke bona satane a lwantwa ke tsena ke reke ke rapela thata ba dilo di gana thamalla back in the days go le thata ke khala ba still ke tswela ke hustler ke rata go bona mamalla ke batla go mona galalla kana ke bright tone ska bona ke bopa mawanyatsa kana ke braka ska nyatsa bo shibidi jaka khale ke toka molelo diphilo ke na le ngwaga tse tharo ke betsa comedy marapo bitso la me ke bofelo ke batla go tshwana le tshepo ke batla go khalifo ke spana ka thata ditinto 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 tinto Yeah. Machiruba tebe barata makaka babona le broke de tell you tell babita mabita bo hani bo switch di zaka di tsena o reka di sofa di bill du dollar your mama to meti di tala tsa fake di batla fambola o fambola thata ba never about to say they cursing you ba batla o taga see kena le ngwa tse pedi tse target taba bo kete these days all my friends but I can drop it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, again and again and again. Yeah, always do that again. Yeah, rap, onko monto funa malipel. Die day slecht per clear. Time I always thought, give me clear. Always knew I'ma be the best. Yeah, can I get quality bean? In case you thinking that, you quality. Yeah, can I get span a little wine? In case you thinking that, can manage you. Kali gituka mulil, gituka mulil di pino. Kena le ngwaga tse tharo ke betsa comedy marapo bizo la me ke bofelo ke batla go tshwana le tshepo ke batla go tshwana khalifo ke spana ka thata ke tinto 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 yeah tinto tinto.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokoenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Channel Africa, where every moment is an African celebration. Feel the energy, feel the connection. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Turn the page. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
I'm power high moya, oh halalela. I'm tomale fating lena, camorero le sepeo Camo, I'm power twadi, balerato, kimototo cabona. Pamponsatsela, pantataisa, pangsupisa, monetiling ting, parehona, otlafisha, moyang ting, parna, lina. Salibella che ne che satsibi hormona che le baleng landua le solong fela che le ruma la moya ufumana poloso che hula tela la hailenswe berin kinatsela lenete le bupelo ifokolo nyaka umpamatla mohawa
What a soulful tune there. Her name is Malay, taking us to Lesotho. And this one titled Kitlo Fika. I will arrive, I'll make it. I will see things to finish. Before that, we had William Last KRM with that one titled Tinto. It is 6 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. African Diaries is the name of the show. Shayla Ndikumana with you, and I've got you for the next hour or so. Time for us to get into our second conversation. Now, before we begin, a gentle reminder to our listener. Today's conversation touches on sensitive topics, including family conflict and gender-based violence. While we approach these issues with care and professionalism, some listeners may find that parts of this discussion are distressing. If some of you are affected by these issues, support services are available in your area, and we are encouraging you to sought after help. We are going to be joined this evening by Mariki Corneli Jacobs, a leading mediator and co-founder of Voice of the Children practitioner program. Before we start, of course, we have to get into the reality that this conversation looks to see how children are affected by GBV. The context is the child this evening, and we're going to be trying to get an understanding, because sometimes they don't speak. They don't vocalize what it is they're going through, or maybe they don't even know how to articulate what they are experiencing. And of course, to help us further dissect the subject matter, we allow Mariki to join us. Mariki, good evening and welcome to African Diaries.
Good evening, Shayla, and thank you for the invite. I'm very glad and happy to be here and to share with everybody out there more about the voice of the child in South Africa.
Let's start off by just gauging legalities, right? In the Children's Act, this is Act 38 of 2005, which makes it mandatory for children to practice and participate in matters affecting them during a divorce or separation. How and to what degree and context do we involve children? Yes, there is an act that says that they must participate, but do they understand the context? And how do we introduce them into the context safely?
I like what you've just asked. And just to start off with the Children's Act 38 of 2005, do you know that this act actually only came into force on the 1st of April 2010? So we're talking about a very young act. And in specific, what you refer to is our Section 6.5 and Section 10 of the Children's Act. And it states that children has the right to participate. So it's not optional, it's a legal requirement. And to ensure that this right is upheld, we started a structured, child-focused approach where a Voice of the Child practitioner will meet with the child in a very friendly environment with about 3 sessions, 40 minutes long, and the child will have certain media that it can play with, puzzles and drawings, and so we can explore a little bit more about the child's world. They will express their feelings and their needs, and this is not forensic, very important, and it's not an investigative process. It is instead a process where we found that children that talk can heal.
So important that you make mention of that, Mariki, and I really do commend the work that you do for Voice of the Child and how you use these programs to facilitate conversations between children. Let's dig a bit deeper into a child's understanding, and I'm rather interested in how it is they interact with the world during different stages, right? And I suppose you can walk us through the different stages. And the reason I'm asking this question is because perhaps somebody seated at home and is sort of just recognizing and realizing I went through the process of divorce. I've
Yes.
already delved into the thicket of it. I didn't consider the child to the extent which I should have. But now I want to have that conversation. And they don't know how to mediate between themselves and the child. How do we begin to open ourselves up to the child? But also, how do we begin to receive what the child has to say?
Very important questions. And I think what we need to understand is that a child from as the age of 3 years can already have an interview with a voice of the child practitioner. Now, say for instance, tonight, Shayla, you were trained, you did our training program. You would have an interview with the child, and in that interview, you won't ask the child, where do you want to stay? Or would you stay with mom or dad? It's more that the child will express its feelings and overcome that helplessness, that powerlessness, that sometimes they feel invisible. So how it works is the parents would contact us and tell us that they are going to get a divorce. And we would start with the mediation. And in the mediation, we will have a voice of the child practitioner that will speak to the children and in our mediation give feedback to the parents. So it's two processes. The one is where the practitioner speaks to the children every week for about 3 weeks. And after those sessions, the voice of the child practitioner will give feedback to the parents in the mediation session. The parents can then ask questions, and after those questions, a parenting plan is compiled. So the child's voice is also heard through the parenting plan, which is actually supposed to be a child's plan.
Mariki, I know that you can't give us statistics concerning parents and their willingness to participate in a mediation process, but just based off your experience, how often do parents turn to mediation before heading straight to the courts?
That is such a good question. So currently we're experiencing in Gauteng about plus minus, please, everybody out there that's a practitioner, don't stone me, but about 25,000 divorces that we've experienced last year in 2024. So out of that, we think there's about 75,000 children that's caught up in divorce or separation. Now, what happens is when the parents decide to get divorced, there's normally already a lot of hurt and anger and resentment, which the child is locked into. We also get something called parental alienation, where the parents would like the child to take their sides in this divorce. So sometimes they actually do not want in mediation the child's voice to be heard. Maybe they think that all their dirty laundry is going to come out. So they do, and I would say more than 60% of parents would rather go for litigation and not mediation. And it's because they hope that somebody else will fight for them as a parent, and then they forget that who will listen to the child and look after the child. So us as voice of the child practitioners and mediation practitioners always tell the parents, you know what, our first priority is the children, because they are stuck into something they didn't ask for. And in my book that I wrote also in page 33, the children's voices there comes out, and when they speak to their parents, they say, we are here in a situation we didn't ask for. And I think if you look at the end of the voice of the child process, where there's a reunification, is when the voice of the child practitioner, mom and dad, the children and myself will sit in a room and we will explain the parenting plan to the children and also explain to them what is the roadmap going forward. They'll have toys at mom's house and dad's house. They'll have a toothbrush at each house. And those information and education about the roadmap going forward helps the children with the divorce. But to get back to what you asked, no, if we don't talk about this, on shows like tonight and on books and Facebook, then people won't know that we should listen to children, Section 10 of the Children's Act, and that it's helpful for them because when they talk, they heal.
Mariki, that's a point you've been emphasizing. Children need to talk. I think from the beginning of our conversation, you've just been emphasizing that when they talk, they heal. My only question is, do we have parents that are fit to listen? And not because they don't want to. I honestly do not believe that a parent is ready to neglect their child to that extent. Of course, there are certain instances where that happens. However, I do think that there is some kind of miscommunication between a child and a parent. And I think it's because, firstly, language, the expression of what it is you're going through as a child. You know, you perhaps don't understand what it is you feel, and you're trying to put it out there. But when you do, all you feel like doing is getting moody and not saying anything. And these people don't understand me. And these are real conversations that we have seen spring up when it comes to children. So how do we mitigate that language barrier that has nothing to do with the actual tongue, but more so an understanding of each other?
Yes, Shayla, that's so important. You know, there should be a bridge between parents and children. And sometimes when parents are overwhelmed, they don't really listen to the children's needs. And I think as being their primary caregivers, there should be an open conversation. And what we've seen that open conversations strengthen trust. It brings back that that attachment that was bonded when the child was born. But parents don't always listen calmly without judgment. Children sometimes feel judged or they need to perform. Now, everybody is under stress when there is trauma, and the trauma can sometimes just be relocation. I've been dealing with a lot of voice of the child in relocation, where children have to go to another country and leave their friends and their dogs behind, and they're not listened to. So we listen to their emotions, and when they release these emotions constructively, we see that the stress load is being shared with us as being practitioners. And when there's then a breach between the children and the parents, us being voice of the child practitioners being that bridge, I think it makes a safe space for them. And having that safe space, they have a healthy emotional place where they can all the bottled up emotions, the fear, the sadness, the anger, all of those things that sometimes causes sleep disturbances and physical complaints. That is a place where they can offload, and in that safe space, we can talk to the parents and we can say that your child feels this, needs this. We always ask the children when they enter our voice of the child room with a thumbs up, can I tell this to mom and dad? We first ask them, do you know why you're here? And sometimes they don't know. So we explain to them the process. You're going to come and sit with me next week and the week after that, and we're going to talk about your school and your house. Can you tell me about mom's house and dad's house? And with all of that, we build trust with them. And then we ask them, when they tell us sometimes that there's alcohol or some kind of abuse or they've been physically abused, then we say, I will have to tell this information to your parents. And we have to call in a social worker at that stage, but we do assure them that they will be protected and looked after. Sometimes the children will tell us, Shayla, I don't want you to tell mom and dad that, or this has been happening. I don't want you to tell them that. And then we wait a little bit, we work through the process, and if we find more and more information, then we have to stop the process and get in more professionals. But getting back to your initial question, that is a breach. And that bridge helped the children with all that bottled up emotions.
The voice of Mariki Corneli Jacobs joining us this evening, an accredited level 3 mediator in commercial and family law, vice president of the Meditation Society of South Africa, and co-creator of the pioneering Voice for Children practitioner program. And she joins us to have a twofold conversation, one on divorce and the effects of divorce on children, and the next, and I suppose, Mariki, you've sort of just poured into the next that is upcoming in the case and in the context of GBV. How do we mitigate that? We have started that conversation. However, I'm going to need for us to take a quick breather. When we come back, we do continue this conversation. If you do have questions, find us on YouTube. Channel Africa is the platform. Send through your questions via that live chat. If not, do find us on WhatsApp +27 6340 9126.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
"25 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African Time." Ladi Poe on that one, titled "Shaking My Head," alongside Victini and Tempo. This is African Diaries. Shayla Ndikumana with you, and I've got you for the next 35 minutes as we continue conversations with Mariki Corneli Jacobs. Now, again, just to reiterate that today's conversation does address sensitive topics, this including gender-based violence, divorce, and children's exposure to family conflict. We approach these issues with care and professionalism, but sometimes this may cause a trigger of some kind. If you are someone or know someone that is affected by these issues, support services are available in your area, and we encourage you to make use of them. We continue conversations with Mariki, and we're looking at the realities of how children can be protected during this very sticky business that is divorce. Mariki, toward the end of the conversation, you sort of included or contextualized the realities of GBV, and I want us to come to that. To the instance where children have been exposed to GBV based on a parent or a guardian, how do you mitigate that? You said something to the effect of communicating with a child and sort of stopping the process to get more information. What does that look like?
Okay, I wanted to read to you just the lines of Section 10 of our Children's Act, because that makes sense why we can speak to children and why their voices is so powerful and needs to be heard. It says, every child that is of such an age, maturity, and stage of development as to be able to participate in any matter concerning that child has the right to participate in an appropriate way, and views expressed by the child must be given due consideration. So you hear we're asking, what is the age of the child? Is the child mature? Can we speak to that child? And how, in what appropriate way can we speak to that child? Now, when we speak to children in divorce, but also we sometimes are called in to speak to children at school, or sometimes even in court proceedings, a magistrate will ask a voice of the child practitioner to speak to the children, because we are trained to speak to the children. And as we let them draw or we play with them with cards, we hear from them. We can ask them questions, age-appropriate questions, and we hear from them what is their concerns. I have a friend that always says, when children start to talk, they sing like little birds. But what is the reality behind is that they want to talk. They want to tell you what is their fears, what makes them anxious. Now, we see a lot of children that express their fears and experiences when they are in a situation between their parents. Just to give you a few examples, we've been in cases where parents would throw each other with plates or bottles, and the children will get hurt by the glass. Sometimes the parent has had alcohol or other substances in his or her body and fall on the child or by accident hit the child, but the children then starts talking about that. Now, it is for Family Assist and Voice of the Child, it's vital that these trained practitioners ensure that we then refer these cases. We would then immediately make sure that the child is safe and refer to a social worker or protective services if needed. It is also sad always to understand that most of the times when we speak to these children, not just in divorce, but also post-divorce, at school where they sometimes get bullied, it's the people nearest to them. It is their family. It can be their caretakers. We've had children that's been locked up for long periods of time, and children that's even been sedated. So a lot of the times, because they're young and they're innocent and they're helpless, the situations where they're in make them so vulnerable and put such a lot of anxiety in that trauma situations. And then they really start in this child-friendly space with all these tools that we use to start talking to us and it's telling us what is their fears and their hurt, why they feel so helpless.
And Mariki, for outside parties who have had an opportunity to gauge change in behavior in this child. I mean, you've made mention of some extreme cases, being sedated, being locked up for days on end, and I can only imagine that this would change the nature of the child. What are the first steps that one ought to take? Because what you instinctively want to do is try and rescue the child yourself. You want to step in, you want to try and do something, or you want to leave the matter because you're thinking to yourself, that is a family I'm not trying to touch. And so with all of that information in mind, walk us through some of these steps that one can take who is witnessing some level of GBV that is falling upon the child and has no direct access to the child.
Okay, let me start and explain this. Sometimes parents need some education regarding what their children's needs are. So in our process of assisting with a divorce, we have something called co-parenting classes. Now, co-parenting classes is where there's education for both parents because they get a manual, what to do, how to greet, how to assist, how to help their children after divorce. And that's very helpful because sometimes there's a lot of neglect, also a lot of, how would I say, miscommunication, and that leads to situations which you can avoid if everybody actually just talked to each other and communicated. So it helps to have that reunification that I mentioned, which is the end of the voice of the child. So when we speak to the children, we have to get a mandate. We have to get permission from both parents. A lot of the times, Shaila, one parent will come to us and say, can you please talk to my children? They're very upset. And then we would say, Mom, Dad, we need both of your signatures. Both of you have to give us permission to speak to your children. So we can't just speak to one of the children. Now, because this is not forensic, and it's not therapeutic, we need to be very careful that the parents understand the mandate, that we are going to speak to their children to find out if they're doing well. Do they understand this divorce? Do they understand that they will be in a mom's house for a few days and in a dad's house for a few days? Do they understand that they might be close, that they have to travel with? So a better understanding for the children and the parents help. Now, with gender-based violence and also everything around that, when we do hear from the child that we are touching on those situations, we sometimes have to stop and tell the child that there's another person in our team that needs to join us. And that person then assists with an extra open ear to hear, is there abuse or is there any violence that needs to be reported? And then that case needs to be reported, and there's an investigation that starts. And in that investigation, the voice of the child practitioner cannot be called as a witness. This is for the people that will do all the investigation work. So our mandate stops after the whole voice of the child stops. But we do then give feedback to the parents, and we do tell them what has happened in our voice of the child and up to where this whole case was handed over. So when we hand over there's the indefinite evidence and we can't mediate or assist a child further, then there's further steps that needs to be done. That stops our mandate, if that is open and clear enough for you.
That is clear, Mariki. I want us to talk about the integration of technology, and the reason I'm bringing this up, it has been such a buzz conversation across various spectrums, how technology is influencing how we communicate. And one thing that we have seen, a study was actually conducted to say that 1 in 3 users of the internet is a child. And children are learning how to advance in technology, and sometimes are sorting after care, counsel, affection, attention from the digital space. And so, with that context in mind, how do you as VOCP keep up, firstly, with that reality where a child feels like, I've already been counseled, I don't need to talk to you, I already got my I suppose I got my set of advice and I feel like I know what to do and how to carry myself forward. And so this is essentially not for me. How do you then mediate that end?
It's such a good question. Three ways where everything from AI, from cell phones, laptops have helped us is that when we start with the voice of the child, we make a little video and we forward that video on the cell phone to the parents to play to the child so that the child knows what to expect when they come to us in the voice of the child room. Now, it is true, there's such a lot on TikTok that children help each other, they talk, and there's such a lot out there. But we have really found that the warmth of somebody in a child-friendly space, somebody that actually validates them one-on-one, is something that you can't beat. The fact that they can sit there, that they feel safe, that we listen while they're playing, drawing. You must remember they draw, they've got expressive tools that they work with. That's beyond your laptop and your AI or anything else like that. That is a one-on-one. Because we use age appropriate tools and it's all neutral. The space is warm, it's friendly, it's neutral. Children, like I said, want to talk and they want somebody to hear. Now, you've seen all these little bots. They only have a certain way of talking back to you, where with us, we ask certain questions and we respond to the answers. We sometimes hold space, we sometimes listen, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. And you have to think on your feet when children tells you certain emotions, which is more than 90% they cry and they hug a teddy bear. So it's real. And I think that's the difference. We're working with a real situation. You can feel it. And there's a lot more going on between us and that child, and they can feel it. There's a energy that they can feel, and there's a kindness, and there's something like help. And I think also because the voice of the child rooms is so friendly, we normally sit with them on the carpet and there's teddy bears, they can lie down a little bit. We ask their parents to bring them some snacks and drinks and water and cool drink because sometimes 45 minutes can get long. But they feel in that time that, you know what, I can actually rest. There's a lot of peace. So I can go on with this for long, but I think to summarize, it's real, and they feel that it's real. They feel that they are heard, and they feel the warmth of another person sitting across from them.
Mariki, as we draw to an end, I just want to gauge your thought process. And this is sort of a forecasting question. I believe that mediation is a softer approach to separation. And so are we seeing a growing interest? And if so, can you forecast into, I suppose, a 5-10 year landscape when it comes to South Africa and perhaps even across the continent?
Yes. Shayla, I'm so glad you asked that. Now you're getting me all worked up and very excited. So earlier in this year, our judge president has announced in Gauteng a protocol called Rule 41A. It's amplified. It says that you have to mediate before you can litigate. So, Shayla, before you can go to court now with the Rule 43 or any application, you have to first mediate. And myself as a mediator needs to give you a certificate and give an outcome, what happened in the mediation. And in the mediation, there's always the Divorce Act and the Maintenance Act and the Children's Act that we have to address. So after we've done the parenting plan and touched on the child's care and contact, we also help the parents with their pots and pans and division of estate. So you can actually, for less than about 12,000 Rand, get divorced with an attorney, having a mediator that helped you have a parenting plan and a voice of the child done. So in this package, you now have a lot of closure, and you have somebody that can, like you say, go forward with you and help you with all those hiccups that can happen to you after divorce. So I think we are going to see more and more people that will mediate because it's faster, it's definitely cheaper, and it's child friendly, and it is pro child, it's child focused. I don't think that attorneys and advocates will fade away. I do think that there's such a beautiful multidisciplinary work process between an attorney and a mediator. And we do all the solutions, and they help us with all the court-based administration work. So there is place and space for both of them. And I do also think that if mediators do parenting plans for the children's court, then there's a lot less of the bottleneck that we see sometimes where people and parents complain to the courts about what their partner has done. I think that can be solved via mediation. So yes, going forward, I think we're going to see more mediation. We're going to see much more voice of the child. And I think that the word will spread. People will see that it's quicker, and it's definitely much more financially much more better on their pockets to mediate first before they just go straight to attorneys and start immediately litigating.
Mariki, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you this evening. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Shayla. Thank you for having me here. And if I may have a last word, if you want to know more about Voice of the Child, we have a website, www.voiceofthechild.co.za, and contact us, ask us more. We have such a lot of books and a free ebook, which I'll forward to you, Shayla, that can be distributed. There's so much more that you can help your child with. And I hope everybody that's listened here tonight is just excited as I am about Voice of the Child. Thank you.
Thank you, the voice of an accredited level 3 mediator in commercial and family law, Vice President of Mediation Society of South Africa, and co-creator of the pioneering Voice of the Child Practitioner Program, Mariki Corneli Jacobs, joining us this evening. It is 44 after 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. African Diaries is simmering toward an end, but we'd still love to hear from you. We want to continue these conversations. Find us on WhatsApp, +27 63406 9126.
When the sun goes down, we don't stop the talk. Channel Africa, the best nighttime radio. Turn the page. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
Beautiful, it's your name. Wonderful is what you are to me. It's you I see in my dreams.
I pray for you, queen of my life. You are so beautiful, mama. You're beautiful. Emi wa mama kan. Talori yeah. Mama mi ò rojú rí. That is why I'm loving you. Nítorí ọmọ ó jìyà nílé ọkọ. Mama mi ò rojú rí. That is why I'm loving you. La 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bí kíá o, kò sí láyé. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bí kíá o, kò sí láyé. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Whoa, woman, there is no one like you. Oh, woman, there is no one like you. Nítorí ọmọ ó jìyà nílé ọkọ. Màmá mi ò rojú rí. That is why I'm loving you. Nítorí ọmọ ó jìyà nílé ọkọ. Màmá mi ò rojú rí. And that is why I'm loving you. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bí kíá o, kò sí láyé. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bí kíá o, kò sí láyé. Oh yeah, la 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 la. That's why you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. You're under me, and that's why I'm loving you. Yeah, you're under me, and that's why I'm loving you.
Her name is Asha, based in the US of A, originally from Nigeria. That one titled So Beautiful, bringing us to 49 after 11 p.m. Central African time. It is time for us to wrap up the show that has been GBV centered, looking at various elements, in actual fact. The utilization of technology, specifically looking at AI and social media and access to different markets as a place that requires more regulation, but also to be utilized in the right ways in order to protect our children from GBV. And then we went into a conversation to look at the realities of divorce and whether children do understand what's going on and the importance of mediation. And of course, in the context of GBV, what should be done if this is a divorce where children have experienced GBV? What is the way forward? And we did that with Mariki Coronelli Jacobs, who is an accredited level 3 mediator in commercial and family law, among many other things. The conversation we had before that, of course, an opportunity to speak to Marina Madale, MTN Group Executive for Sustainability and Shared Value. She also leads the Help Children Be Children campaign. Time for us to touch base with Morris Touch of the Afro Republic. He carries you between midnight. I was about to say 3 and 6. That is not true. He carries you between midnight and 3 a.m. in Central African time, and he takes you on a sonic experience across the continent. I wonder if Morris Touch is on the line this evening. Morris, good evening to you.
How are you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you. It's good to be connecting with you. It's good to connect with you, rather, on a lovely Tuesday morning. Am I correct?
It's not a morning, you know, Morris, unfortunately. It's not morning yet. I see you want to stretch us quickly into the next day. It is not that time. It's still Tuesday evening. You take over Wednesday morning. What can we expect?
We're looking forward to a great show. Wednesday it is, and we're taking time and going into fantastic stuff, fantastic music, and we've got double billing coming through. And today we're looking at the music of Khadija Nin, an amazing artist from born in Burundi, moved to the Democratic Republic of Congo by then Crystal Zaire, and then moved to Belgium. That's where she resides now. Married there with a family, a beautiful family, but continues to tell the African story, continue to speak at different forums, speaking largely on issues pertaining to the girl child, and just sounding her voice on the disadvantages that are experienced in her home country, a native country, which is Burundi. Yeah, she's an activist, I must say. Great lady. And she has given us great music as well.
Sure. We're looking forward to that, Morris. We catch you in the next 7 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you on the other side this Wednesday morning.
All right, Shayla, have a loved one. Thank you very much.
The voice of Morris Touch of the Afro Republic, who takes over from midnight and he steers you into the new day. I must thank the team that has been on digital. We had Vutivi Hlongwane, and I was about to give you a new name, but her name is Elaine Vengani. On production, we had Nolo Pebetsi Matlaila. On technical, we had Kathy Chuchubaleka. My name is Shayla Ndikumana, and until tomorrow, do take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Cheers.
From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.